her out in an armored truck. He wouldn't even know what to do with a girl like Karen. I'll go talk to him as soon as she wakes up. Chapter 2. The Jimmy Cake and the Bribe. Upstairs in apartment 201, the atmosphere was a stark contrast to the Roper's stagnant living room. The air was a chaotic blend of burnt sugar, floor wax, and the faint, sweet scent of the carnations Jana had brought home from the shop. It was Jeanette's birthday, and the tiny kitchen had become a battlefield of culinary ambition and extreme budgeting. Jack Tripper stood over the counter, his white apron tied tightly around his waist, and a look of intense concentration on his face. Before him sat a cake of lopsided confection with thick, neon pink frosting that looked like it might be radioactive. He had purchased it at a steep discount from the bakery because it had been abandoned by its original recipient. I'm telling you, Chrissy, it's a masterpiece of economy, Jack said, his voice muffled by the focus of his task. He was currently using a toothpick to meticulously excavate a section of the icing. Chrissy leaned over his shoulder, her brow furrowed. She was holding a rubber bone for a reason she couldn't quite remember. Jack, it says happy birthday. Jimmy. Jeanette's name isn't Jimmy. It doesn't even rhyme. It doesn't even have the same amount of syllables. Details. Jack waved her off, his eyes darting to the kitchen door. Look, with a little surgical precision. I scrape off the Emmy, and presto, it reads happy birthday, Jay. It's informal. It's hip. It's very LA. It's like a nickname she didn't know she had. I think it's very half price. Chrissy giggled, popping a stray piece of frosting into her mouth. And Jimmy is probably very sad somewhere without his cake. Jimmy is a guy who didn't pick up his order, Jack countered. He's probably a flake. We're doing the bakery a service by clearing their inventory. Now, help me find a candle that isn't broken. Jean walked into the room just then, looking tired from a long shift at the flower shop, but carrying a flicker of birthday hope in her eyes. She was the anchor of the group, the one who kept the ledger balanced and ensured that the electricity stayed uneven when Jack spent his share of the utility money on an essential copper whisk. Jack, ever the opportunist and a perpetual flirt, immediately dropped his tools and lunged for a birthday kiss. Happy birthday, Johnny. He cheered, but his aim was off. In the ensuing scramble, his oversized 70s medallion, heavy brass sunburst became hopelessly snagged in Jeanette's dark curls. Ow! Jack, watch it! You're scalping me! Jeanette cried, half laughing and half annoyed, as they performed a clumsy, tethered dance of entanglement in the middle of the kitchen. Sorry, kid, it's the magnetism, Jack joked, finally freeing himself after nearly taking out a shelf of spice jars. I've got a dinner plan that will make you forget every wilted rose in the city. A 5-course meal, or at least 3 courses and a very fancy appetizer. The moment of domestic warmth was punctured by a sharp, rhythmic pounding on the front door. It was a knock that belonged to only one man, Stanley Roper. It was the knock of a man who owned the bricks and intended to remind you of it. When Jack opened the door, he found the landlord standing there, looking uncharacteristically shifty. Stanley was wearing a plaid vest that didn't match his trousers and carrying the aura of a man about to commit a minor felony. He ushered Jack out into the hallway, his voice dropping to a gravelly, conspiratorial whisper. "Jack, let me ask you a question. Man to. Well, let's just say, neighbor to neighbor, do you enjoy living here? You like the views, the proximity to the bus stop?" Jack blinked, his internal eviction alarm beginning to wail like a siren. "Yeah, Mr. Roper. It's a great building. Very. Vintage. Lots of character in the plumbing. Good, good," Stanley said, peering over Jack's shoulder into the apartment with a squint of suspicion. "I was wondering, did you ever take out a girl before? I mean, I know you fellas have your own interests, your own little club, but is it against the rules to go to a ball game or dancing or to do whatever it is you people do when you're not decorating?" Jack bit his lip hard to keep from laughing. The lifestyle charade was his shield, but sometimes it felt like a very heavy one. "I think I could manage a night out with a girl, Mr. Roper, for the sake of neighborly relations and world peace." "Terrific, because I wouldn't want you to do anything that goes against your religion," Stanley said, choosing his words carefully as if navigating a minefield. "I have a niece visiting, Karen. She's driving Helen crazy, and quite frankly, she's putting a serious dent in my afternoon nap time. I want you to take her out tonight. Show her the town. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere safe." Jack started to decline. "Mr. Roper, I'd love to, really, but it's Jeanette's birthday. We have a whole evening planned, a special cake, a dinner." Stanley reached into his pocket and pulled out a crumpled wad of bills. He peeled off 5 tens and pressed them into Jack's palm with the intensity of a drug deal. $50 for your expenses, and I'll let you drive the car. Just get her out of the house for 3 hours. Think of it as a mission of mercy." $50 in 1977 was a small fortune. It was the difference between eating pot roast and eating crackers for the rest of the month. It was rent security. It was a new set of chef's knives. Jack's loyalty to Jeanette's birthday began to waver, and the final blow came when Karen stepped into the hallway. She was not what Jack had expected. Based on Stanley's genes and personality, he had envisioned someone with a permanent scowl, sensible orthopedic shoes, and a passion for crochet. Instead, Karen was a vision of New York sophistication, blonde, radiant, and wearing a dress that seemed to be held together by little more than sheer confidence and the laws of physics. "Karen," Stanley said, "this is Jack. He's harmless. He's a student. He's going to show you the town." Jack's jaw practically hit the shag carpet. His eyes glazed over as his brain struggled to reconcile the $50 with the woman standing before him. "Okay," he stammered, his voice jumping an octave. "Let's go. Right now. Immediately. Shauna won't mind. She's very understanding. It's her birthday. She's feeling generous." As they disappeared toward the stairs, Jonna and Chrissy stood in the doorway of 201, watching the back of Jack's head. The Jimmy